Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated and best and handsomest sportsbook. Download the app and use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Speaking of handsome, I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi.
Nicely done.
Lawrence is at the dials. We call this the A-Team. We are here to kick some ass and look at the table with the visage of one Marian Hossa. Just... I think that book is glowing. Honest to God, I touched it, and I felt like a shock of electricity come through my body.
Yeah.
And I am a born-again Hossan.
It literally, when you open it, it's like the suitcase from Pulp Fiction. There's a light, and then like you hear angels sing. It's rather inspiring. I do have to say, though, when I first saw the title of our podcast today, Our Ring of Honor, I was like, finally, we're going to do our wrestling podcast.
Let's go.
But nope, not yet. Still pushing for that one.
CHGO Wrestling at some point.
Dude, if we do a podcast on 90s wrestling, I'm the guy.
I
Before,
think
after,
we have about,
we're going to have to get a bigger
we got
set.
a dozen I'm the guys for that one.
here's Jay's weekly feature on Tatanka.
I mean, feel free to tune into last night's CHGO Bears After
I
Dark.
did, yeah.
Yeah,
D'Lo
Brown,
Brown.
greatest European champ
awesome.
of all
The
time.
nation of
Can
domination.
he still do the head wiggle?
Well, we asked him to frog splash Carm at the next tailgate. We'll see if we can
If
get him
Carm
out
doesn't
there.
want to do it, I'll volunteer for the
Oh,
frog splash.
he said that you just have to sign a waiver, whoever decides to do it.
All right, just don't let him pile drive us.
It's a simple waiver.
That's so because I think like as a youth, I used to go to metal shows and I get headbanged very easily. If I do this like 3 headbangs now, I need to sit down. I just can't move my head that frequently anymore. So
Yeah, the old
hopefully
neck muscles
D'Lo
are,
Brown can still do the head wiggle, which was a great little taunt that he did.
I mean, he is a serious Bears fan, though. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
I was impressed. Like, because sometimes you pull these guys on from out of town, like, oh, I'm a diehard Bears fan. What do you think of the game? Oh, I thought Jay Cutler looked great. Like, they aren't actual fans. They just kind of wear it as a badge of honor.
Seth Rollins, current
Yeah?
WWE U.S. champ, I believe he's a huge Bears fan as well.
Oh, well, we got to get him on. I'll talk to my
Please refer to him as
Kevin
Becky
Patrick.
Lynch's husband, please.
Yeah,
That
they
is
were
the
both
official
at
title.
one of the games earlier this year. They were at one of the Bears. I think it was the Thursday night game. They
Gotta
were
get.
there.
I'm sorry to them. That's
Yeah,
too bad.
You know,
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
He's-
don't go to a nationally televised Bears game. It's never
he
a good
should know.
idea.
He's from Davenport, Iowa, so he's grown up in it. There was actually that one WrestleMania match. He wore the orange and blue tights.
That was recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years
Seth
ago. Yeah.
freaking Rollins.
Seth freaking
Let's
Rollins
go.
is a Bears fan, so he likes being disappointed just like the rest of us.
When I used to work at a sports radio station in Milwaukee many years ago, and the WWE was in Milwaukee. He was the Money in the Bank champion at that time, and he came in to do our morning show and just got roasted for being a Bears fan on a Packers station.
yeah,
he was
that
a good
makes
sport
sense.
about it, but yeah, it was pretty fun.
I don't think they'll be calling him anytime soon.
How the tides have
No.
turned, my friends.
I don't
Yes.
think so.
All right, let's talk about some hockey, I guess.
I
we have
guess
to?
it is a Blackhawks show.
So as today is release day for Marian Hossa's book, creatively titled Hossa, we're going to talk about our proposed Ring of Honor candidates. But first, we've got some news to get to. Greg, you did the legwork today. You were at practice, so why don't you update the good people on the latest Blackhawks news?
Yeah, there was lots of little interesting things. Tyler Johnson, when I got to the rink a few minutes before practice, was out skating on his own.
Great.
He's still a little ways from actually being ready, but the fact that he was in a walking boot 4 or 5 days ago to skating is good. After practice, Luke Richardson had mentioned that both Seth Jones and Alex Stalock skated on their own as well for the first time today, so that's good news on the front there. We're almost, we're at 2 weeks.
I think we're
for
about a
June?
week, at least a week and a half
It
into
was Saturday, a week ago Saturday. So like we're close to like the halfway point of that
close. Yeah.
3 week. But I mean, Seth is dealing with a thumb injury, so that shouldn't prevent you from skating.
No.
To stay in shape. So that's good news.
Stay locked.
Do we call him Seth freaking Jones now?
We can.
People call him that in the opposite way
Yeah.
it's meant,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
But and then our goalie situation, Dylan Wells cleared waivers. He's back in Rockford. Arvid Soderblom, Peter Mrazek both had the nets today. They're good to go. Peter Mrazek was removed from IR yesterday. Luke Richardson said it was kind of a dehydration issue with Soderblom in Winnipeg. I'd have to go back and listen to it again, but he went on something about the benches, and they weren't able to get ice in his water bottle, and he overheated.
in
and
Winnipeg?
Yeah, I don't
No
know.
ice in Winnipeg. That's
No ice,
interesting.
but I don't know. There was some reason that they couldn't keep his water bottle cold enough, or something. It was he was dehydrated. They
weird.
told him that they played it safe. They sat him out for the period. Nothing serious. As far as this weekend goes, they'll both play a game. Soderblom will play one game. Mrazek will play one or the other. He said he was going to let Jimmy Waite kind of dip into the matchups and see what goalie has better success or the opposite, and before they make their mind on who starts when. I would think Soderblom will start in LA just because he
Why not?
just beat
He
them.
just
He
played
was
the
so good
Kings,
against
he
them
played
and
great,
give
yeah.
Mrazek some more time.
Yeah, so
That's
that
a
would be my
no-brainer.
guess if I was going to go. If there was a bet
pack
on the
the BioSteel.
DraftKings Sportsbook app about who starts Thursday night's game in Los Angeles, I would be putting my money on Arvid Soderblom.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I guess he made it public.
Yeah. So, question in the chat about updates on Jackson Stauber. We don't have any updates on that as far as information we have from the Ice Hogs. He left his last game after taking a puck off the mask that apparently affected.
He didn't play at
his
all
face.
this past weekend.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mitchell Weeks played. Wells going back will allow Wells and Weeks to be the goalie tandem, but our man Joey Z would have been our contact about Jackson Stauber, but he made it public today that he is actually leaving the Rockford Ice Hogs organization. Seems like it is a mutual separation between both sides. He had reached out to us personally a couple of days ago, letting us know that it was going to be the case. We don't know what happened. But for whatever reason, he's no longer with the organization. It's sad because we've gotten to know Joey over the years. He is a tremendous broadcaster. He's a tremendous guy in the PR world, the communications world. Just a really good person to know and have worked with. So sad to see him go. He did a couple broadcasts for the radio booth for the Blackhawks last season as they were cycling through their TV auditions and whatnot, and it's tough. He's one of the best, so I know he'll land on his feet in no time, I'm sure.
Yeah. I've had the pleasure of getting to work pretty close with Joey the past 4 or 5 years covering the AHL. It's a tremendous loss for the organization because he does so much. He's not just a top-notch play-by-play guy, but he wore so many hats down there, did the communications, did the media relations, did a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Like, seriously, there's some nights that I wonder if like the lights would have even gotten turned on at the BMO if Joey didn't show up. One of the nicest guys I have met in my entire life. It's tough, but I know he's going to land on his feet real soon, and wherever he goes, he's going to do a great job. If you're in the market for a fantastic play-by-play guy that can do all the PR needs you need, you should have hired him yesterday. Hopefully, I know on a personal level, I won't lose touch with him. He's somebody that I consider a friend and a colleague, but I'm sure hopefully he can land somewhere that we can still tap into his brain and his personality on the show from time to time.
He's a tremendous broadcaster.
Absolutely.
And like I always thought when we would talk to him, my mind would wander as he would sort of talk about the stuff he does. How does one man do all that? And then for him to leave for whatever reason it was, like 2 weeks into the season. It's crazy.
Yeah,
They've got to be reeling and
They've
got a lot.
It's odd timing.
If someone's looking for a quality hockey person and a quality human being,
Yes.
Joey Z's available.
There's a lot of
to make it
guys
happen.
that are in the media, not only like the journalism side and the broadcasting side, that take on hockey as because they have to. It's a way in. You do the hockey beat for 2 years and then maybe get the Bears beat, or you broadcast hockey for a couple of years and then maybe you can go work and do basketball or football, something you want to do. Joey Z loves hockey.
Mm-hmm.
He's a hockey guy. So if you've got you want a guy that knows the game and as well as broadcasting it, he's the guy to hire. So and yeah, I know there hasn't even been an official announcement from the Ice Hogs about it, but Joey went public with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who they had fill in over the weekend. I didn't get a chance to watch those games. I think
it was the.
I know they had the Steel play-by-play guy
yeah.
for a couple. I know our buddy Joe Brand at WGN is going to be doing a couple of games. I think he said the home and home series with the Wolves. So
Good for Joe.
yeah, that's a great opportunity for Joe, who deserves a shot. He is far more than just your pregame and postgame guy.
Yeah, he's great.
He's so good for him. So
Oaklawn product.
yeah, good, another good dude. So if it comes out that it helps Joe Brand, that's a good thing too. Another good person taking advantage of an opportunity. But I think I speak for all of us when I say we're wishing our best to Joey Z,
doubt.
and we'll keep you updated on where he lands, and we'll be following closely.
Definitely. All right, before we get to our Ring of Honor, we want to tell you about a couple of our sponsors, but first about our next tailgate this Sunday. Woo. Chicago versus Detroit, 8:30 to noon. We're right near the corner of Roosevelt and Michigan. Goose Island, bring in the brewskis. We're going to have food. We're going to have music. We're going to have dancing. We're going to have fun. It is a great time. And if you follow us on social media, and you should be at CHGO Sports and this show at CHGO_Blackhawks, you've seen the videos and the photos of the tailgates. It is such a wonderful time.
Good time.
So go to allchgo.com. Get your tickets there. You do need tickets to the tailgate, but not to the game. Don't think you need Bears tickets to attend the tailgate. You don't need tickets to the game. But to get in, you need tickets to the CHGO tailgate. Do that at allchgo.com. Come drink some delicious Goose Island beers with us. Eat some delicious food, and hang out with us from 8:30 till noon before Bears and Lions.
You did it.
I think it's fine.
Well, if you
All right, well.
do,
That was fun, Jay.
but if you do buy tickets to our awesome Chicago-Detroit tailgate, and you do want to go to the Chicago-Detroit professional football match,
Yes.
we've got that covered too. You should go
we do.
ahead over to Game Time. Our good buddies, our pals over at Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. Have you ever dreamed of sitting in the seats that you thought you never could? Well, Game Time can make it happen. You want to sit at center ice. You want to sit right behind the penalty box at a United Center game. You want to sit in the 50-yard line for Chicago-Detroit this Sunday? Well, it's possible with Game Time. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. That's the key with Game Time. Wait it out. That's my advice, because the closer it gets to Game Time, the cheaper the prices are. They fall as you get closer. So if there's a Blackhawks game you want to go to, maybe you want to go see Marian Hossa, that's probably the one game you're not going to save a ton of money on.
Be a tough ticket,
But
but you can still get
Here's
the
the
deal.
good thing about Game Time.
$84 gets you in the door. That's for hosting night.
That's about $20-$30 cheaper than
I
it
was
was
gonna
a
say,
week
that's
or so.
better than it was, yeah.
And here's the best part. You want to go to that Hossa game, and you see a ticket at the same section, cheaper price on another site, let Game Time know. They'll match it. That's how great they are. So if you love CHGO, you'll love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. If you're watching live on YouTube, scroll down. On your way down, smash that like button. Hit that big thumbs up for us, please. That gives us a big boost. And then you'll see the link for Game Time. And no matter where you're listening, even on where you consume your favorite podcast, you'll see the link in the podcast description. Click on that link. Buy all your tickets. No matter where you're going, use Game Time.
Every ticket.
and you will save a ton of cash, and you won't find a better deal anywhere on the secondary market.
Speaking of deals, $13 to see the Hurricanes on the 14th, and $17 to boo the St. Louis Blues on the 16th.
Nice.
Game time prices for Hawks.
Let's buy up all those Blues tickets so the guys in jean shorts and camouflage hats don't get in from St. Louis. Though they're all jumping off the bandwagon down there anyway because their team sucks.
They suck, but
yeah,
don't segue from that.
Game time is not the only place where you can save yourself some money. You can also save yourself some money and some energy by signing up with ComEd and their energy efficiency program, which is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future. It's not directed to say that, but I
liked it.
I made a creative choice.
Put some pizzazz on it.
ComEd offers a wide array of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across our territory. Customers can inquire about how to upgrade outdated lighting to energy and more saving efficient LED lights. Learn more about the network of lighting to operate your lights through your mobile device and track your facility's energy usage and more. Incentives have recently increased for indoor and outdoor lighting and networked lighting controls, making these projects even more cost effective than before. I know I always get the energy efficiency reports in the mail with my ComEd bill. I'm not the most efficient, I'll be honest.
Some of your neighbors are more efficient. Well, I know, but I'm doing my best.
Don't judge me.
I will say, though, I am proud to be more efficient than the average neighbor.
Yeah, I'm in the good,
At least that, yeah.
I get a smiley face.
I try hard. And if you're going to try hard, make sure to go to comed.com/poweringbiz to start saving money and energy. You can also call the number 855-433-2700. And for more information, you can email them as well, businessee@comed.com or publicsectoree@comed.com.
All right. I am literally, as we speak, arranging an interview with
Marian Hossa,
the man himself.
Wow.
So
what?
Nothing final yet, but keep your eye on Friday, November 18th.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Should we?
So keep your eye on that.
Are we able to read a bit from the book?
No, we don't want to get in trouble. We can't give any of it away. We got to stay in the good graces.
All right.
All right. So today's the book. Go buy it if you have not, from the lovely people at Triumph Books. Someone else I know wrote a book for them.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Tad Bramford?
Tim too, yes. Tad Bamford did write a book for Triumph. So that's today. November 20th is the retirement ceremony for Marian Hossa. So
Lifted into the raft.
Because the book is out today, we figured, you know what? His number's getting retired, but there's going to be a lot of people who will never get that honor for the Hawks. When we talked to Danny Wirtz and Jamie Faulkner a few weeks ago, we actually asked the question, is there a Ring of Honor kind of in the works? And here's what they had to say during our interview.
With our centennial anniversary coming up, I think it's actually a perfect sort of deadline for us to get this in order, because if you actually think about not only the last three cups and the amount of players that contributed to that and how to honor them, but there was also some really important eras throughout history that we've had amazing players, and how do we connect each of those eras together and make that part of the Blackhawk experience. So we're in planning stages. I'm not sure if it will take the form of a Ring of Honor or a Hall of Fame or whatever it might be, but I do think we will formalize how we recognize and honor our great players, and I think that will involve a lot of committee work to make sure it's a good process. We'll find a way for fans to be able to participate and engage in that, because you're absolutely right. It's a great problem to have where we have so many people to honor. Now we just have to make sure we do it right and really make it special.
So here's how we thought about handling this. All right. So we were talking before the show. We're each going to pick three guys, one from different eras. So we're going to go 1980 and before will be our first era. Second era, this dreamed up by Mario beautifully, 1980 to the 2004 lockout. And then we'll go from post-lockout to present. So we're each going to pick one player from each era to join the Ring of Honor. Now, we need to qualify this.
Hypothetical inaugural cast.
Yes. Now, there's a couple guys that we all agree deserve to have their numbers retired, and it seems like it's not going to happen, but they should be the first two that get their numbers in the Ring of Honor. That is Jeremy Roenick, and that is Steve Larmer. In whichever order you want to put them in. For me, I have more of a connection to Roenick, just because of when I came in and whatever. But both of them, I think, have very valid arguments to have their numbers retired. Both of them should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. So we're just going to put them in already. So they're off our lists. So I'm tired of starting. I hate picking the four.
They are the unanimous. They are in.
Yeah. I mean,
They should have their number retired.
yes. They gave Roenick's number away right away.
Yeah, well, that's not surprising.
And multiple times.
Yes.
Same with Larmer.
Same with Larmer.
Yeah.
And very quickly.
Look, I know there's probably stuff that we don't know, right?
Sure.
There was probably some things said behind the scenes.
We know everything.
Yeah. There are probably some things that I'm probably more is talking about Roenick in this.
Yeah.
Where bridges may have been burned and things may have been said, but when you consider one of the numbers that's already up there and one of them that is emblazoned on Madison Street. I don't want to hear it. You know, if that guy is still being honored, then if Jeremy Roenick was snippy one day or whatever, he should be honored as well because he did a ton to get a new generation, me and you guys, into the Blackhawks, right? He was the coolest guy in hockey. He was an electrifying player. He's got 500 goals. Like everything, every box that you would check to be in the Hall of Fame and to have your number retired, Roenick checks it. Except for Stanley Cups.
And obviously we know that number 2 is going to be retired one day.
Eric Weinrich, yes.
And Boris Mironov.
Wino. I loved Wino. He was so good.
We know number 7 is going in the rafters for both Chelios and Seabrook and Everett Sanapass. Obviously, 19 and 88 are going up there.
Kyle Calder,
Troy
Murray.
Yeah, lots of those guys.
Actually,
do you do Taves?
Sorry, I saw the Hossa book and things
excited.
just popped up and it flip over my computer. The Troy Murray, I had not thought of this. If they retire 19, they might put Troy's number up there too.
Yeah, maybe.
That's kind of if you're. I mean, Chelios was a better player than Murray and probably more impactful to the organization as a player.
Yeah.
But you look at Troy's contributions post-career.
Oh yeah.
I think you could see a double 19
as
up
far
there.
as representative of the team, organization, ambassador for the team. Like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I could see that. I'd have zero issue with that. Otherwise, if you're only going to do it for Taves, then Troy Murray is with Larmer and Roenick in the first induction into the Ring of Honor.
No doubt.
Sure.
No doubt. I mean, you talk about a lifer, right?
Yeah.
And that's a guy who went on elsewhere and won a cup with Colorado.
And there's a lot of guys, your Eddie Olczyks would be an easy add to this. But so we know those 4 numbers, 2, 7, 19, and 88 are going to be retired.
Yeah.
And 81.
81
right.
is getting retired here in a few days. Other than that, the only one that we kind of talked would be 50 for Corey Crawford. He's borderline.
Yeah.
But, our logic is it's number 50. Who the hell is ever going to want to wear that again anyway? Like if you're a goaltender in Chicago, you're going to ask for number 50.
Yeah, I really wanted that.
Yeah.
So just like taking away number 50 for the rest of time is not really hurting anything. It's not a popular number in any position.
It's not a skater's number all that much,
What
if
if
at all.
Mike
and
Singletary has a grandson and he's really good at hockey and wants to come play?
maybe.
Screw him. He's not Corey Crawford.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Plus, never mind. There's a whole football locker room.
Don't want to drop his breezers in front of the team.
All right, so shall we get to the guys we want?
Yes.
Yeah, why don't we
Before
start
this
with,
goes completely off?
let's
the
start
rails.
with the old timers.
You want to start with Karpatsev? That's what Narfin
Oh
suggested.
boy. R.I.P. in peace.
25? Was he 25?
52.
Can we get a
got little
transcript
dyslexic
of
there.
Pat
Okay.
Foley's rant and
Yeah,
raise
we
it
can put the
raise
rant.
it to the
Yeah, we
top?
can put the rant in the Ring of Honor.
That should be the Foley banner.
Yeah.
It's just that rant
Oh,
and then like
yes,
Pat Foley
please.
with a microphone next to
Perfect.
it. Yeah. That's,
Speaking of Pat Foley, are they going to release an audio book version of the Hossa book read by Pat Foley.
I want to hear
That would
Hossa
be
read it.
fantastic.
I want Pat Foley to read the Marian Hossa book.
On this show, preferably.
Hey, if Hossa's here, maybe because we'll be too starstruck to even say any
Here,
words.
just read the book.
Hossa, you just want to read a few chapters for us,
Just read
please?
the book for
See,
us.
this is. I'm still envisioning when this happens. I think just to be safe, the three of us need to write out our questions in advance, and then if we somehow become
Just hand it to
comatose, Casey and Lawrence can just come in and read our questions for us, and then we'll just like grunt our responses at Marian after he answers our questions. All right, so let's start with the old timers, shall we? The pre-1980
Pre-'80s.
era, and I'm pre-1980, so don't be offended. I'm not going first. I go first.
I'll
with
go
4 stars.
first
I don't want
because
to.
I didn't watch this man play, so I'm just going off of stats and what I've read about him. My induction. Inductee.
Nice.
My inductee is played for the Blackhawks in the 60s, was part of the 1961 Stanley Cup team. Kenny Warham, former Blackhawk. He won the Lady Byng Trophy in 1963, I believe, 63, 64. Something I didn't know about him in his career that I learned today was that he retired after the 1968-1969 season after being diagnosed with myocarditis. And as someone who lives with a heart condition myself, I resonate with that. So Kenny Warham is my my inductee. God, I did it again. I am so stupid. My inductee for the pre-1980s selection.
Very popular player in his day. From
what I hear.
My dad was a season ticket holder through most of his career and always had glowing things to say about him. I'm going to go with a guy that played even well before that. One of the real old-timers, Bill Mosienko, who played in the 40s and 50s, 710 games for the Hawks, 258 goals and 540 points. He also is a former Lady Byng winner back in 1945 for being the league's most gentlemanly player. And he still holds the record set in 1952 for the fastest hat trick in NHL history. Scored 3 goals against the New York Rangers in 21 seconds.
It's impressive.
That's a good shift.
Yeah,
That's like a glitch.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. Still, surprisingly, still the record.
Amazing.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy. Mine is goaltender Charlie Gardner. He was the Hawks goalie for a few years. He won the Cup in 1934. 7 years in goal for the Hawks. 2 Vezina trophies. 4-time All-Star. They win the Cup in 34. 2 months later, at 29, Charlie Gardner is dead. Oof. He had a brain tumor. And they said, like, towards the end of the Cup run, he was acting erratically and not, like, really himself, but good enough anyway to win the Stanley Cup. Charlie Gardner died 2 months after the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup at the age of 29. Absolutely tragic.
Crazy.
But if you go through, like, Hockey Reference and go through the franchise leaders, you'll see, the greats, Esposito, Belfour, Crawford, Scott Darling's always up there too. And Charlie Gardner's the other guy on that list of great Blackhawks. So I think, you're talking about a long time ago, 1934. I think connecting the organization's long history, and I think kind of what Danny Wirtz was alluding to is, hey, our 100-year anniversary is coming up, and there's a good percentage of our fans that really only know the last 15 years or so of this organization.
Yeah.
So I think connecting to the past is also important. So Charlie Gardner gets my vote for the pre-1980 era.
Yeah, I think
Inductee.
that's a pretty good pick. And yeah, I think there is something to connecting generations of fans, throughout time, and someone like myself, I late 90s started getting into hockey and the Blackhawks. So I even even guys that played in the 70s and 80s, like I've only watched YouTube and read about them. So being able to, connect to those different generations is something important. So when you're going all the way back to the original, first 2 Stanley Cup championships in 1934, 1938, I mean, that's a long time ago. And that would something like this, like a Blackhawks Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor or something, would really be an outlet for that kind of education and connection.
They've got the space. That atrium is There's a lot of open space in that atrium.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they get good use out of it with different events and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they could definitely put something in the atrium or somewhere in the
Just
United
move
Center.
that weird statue that's in the middle of there.
Yeah, put
And
it
no one-
outside.
I don't even know what that is.
Put it back outside with the rest of the statues.
Talking about the Jordan statue.
I was going to suggest moving the that weird studio that's off the last week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I've heard nothing but horror stories come out of there.
Maybe in time. Yes. All right. Should we go into the 80s, 90s, and today?
Go ahead.
All right. I will. I will
The
start
best
again.
of the 80s, 90s.
This is a player I did
the
see
Ched.
on 630 Ched. This is a player I did see play. Someone that I connected with the late 90s, early 2000s Blackhawks, which were terrible teams.
Yes.
But someone who I think we've mentioned before, their legacy is kind of not appreciated as much of how good of a player they were because they played in a bad era of Blackhawks hockey, and that's Tony Amani, former captain, perennial 30 and 40 goal scorer. Just a guy who was one of the best players in the league on usually one of the worst teams. So I loved watching him play. One of the first players that I really connected with. So Tony Amani is my pick.
He was, you're right, electrifying on a team with nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 40 goals a few times, I think.
Yeah.
Scored them, and he had this move where he would go forehand, backhand, forehand, and it worked way more than it should have. He was so good at it.
60% of the time, it worked every time.
He had the ability to handle in tight. And I think one thing now, if people look at Tony Amani now, he's like my size, but
He wishes.
he was okay. It looks like he ate me, but he was fast as hell.
Yeah.
Tony Amani could fly, and he had the mullet hair. There were a couple of times he did the DX after a goal. He was awesome. Like you could, him and Jeremy Roenick for a time were best friends, and they had very similar personalities. Then, as things happen, things get in the middle, so to speak,
don't
and things
happen.
break up a little bit. But
That's one way to put it.
but they were very, very similar players, and it's a shame that Tony Amani, that his prime years in Chicago were missed by most people who even considered themselves Hawks fans because the team was so bad. Alexei Zhamnov came in and really helped Amani a little bit. Zhamnov was a terrific playmaker. I know people hate him because of the trade, but it wasn't his fault. Zhamnov was a grade A second line center. The problem was the Hawks billed him as grade A first line center, and he wasn't. So those two together, they formed some beautiful goals together. But yeah, Tony Amani, absolutely. And I really don't like the fact that he's on the pay no mind list. Like, he's not on highlights.
Yeah.
He's not in the game intros. He's never talked about. He's never referenced. Like, he's doing. Last I checked, he's doing Bruins TV.
He does
How is he not on every pregame show when the Hawks play the Bruins? Like,
I don't know.
it's weird.
Well,
There's no connection.
He
to him.
he's-
kind of
he-
trashed the Hawks a little bit
I think so.
publicly.
Yeah.
Well,
So
But
when
so
he
have,
played
but
for
so
the
have many.
Hawks, it's
So
like-
have many other.
yeah,
Right,
they
you
deserved
know.
it.
I don't know.
I
it's
love
a good
Tony
question.
Amani. I loved him back in the 90s.
Oh, he was awesome.
But
Like,
you
I
know,
mean, he's from the Boston area. I think he's just probably he's clearly enjoyed retirement. Probably doesn't want to make the trip to Chicago
A
too
lot of
often.
Dunkin' Donuts is what you're saying.
Yeah.
hear.
Well,
we
many,
got those
many
here.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
he's
I don't know if
Not
they
on every street corner like in Boston.
well, every other. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they bring him back. I mean, as we heard from Danny Wirtz and Jamie Faulkner, they're really into the bringing back the alumni, and they say they want to do a lot of it this season. You got to get some excitement somehow. So
Right.
it'd be interesting if he's one of those guys that they welcome back and have a night to give, a one more shift or legacy night, whatever they call it.
absolutely.
It would be a popular choice because, as you guys said, in the 90s, early 2000s, he was the guy, especially when everybody else started getting traded. He was the guy.
And Dale Shytown in the chat mentions another one that isn't on our list for this class of our Ring of Honor, but Eric Daze is another one who,
Yeah.
along with Amani, one of the two of the first guys that I really connected with the team.
Eric Daze got such a unfair treatment.
Yes.
Because he was built like Eric Lindros, so people thought he was going to play like Eric Lindros, and he was not Eric Lindros.
No,
and crippling back injuries.
Yes. He used to have to lay down in the aisle of the plane on flights. His back was so bad.
Did Russell Wilson do high knees over him while he was down there?
Probably, yes. But Daze, you're right. See, I'm glad you said that because I'm fascinated to hear you say that you connected with Daze because you were probably pretty young. Teens.
8, 10 years old.
Okay,
8,
so
9, 10.
guys my age hated him because he was not physical in an era of physical hockey.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, you already said Lindros, LeClaire, Renberg, the LOD line, Scott Stevens, Darian Hatcher. You've got guys that are out there to hurt you all the time.
Yeah.
And Daze was like, whoa, look, the Hawks have one of these guys. And he was not a perimeter player,
right?
But he was a
He
finesse
not
player.
a power forward.
Not a power forward.
So many
right.
times at the United Center in that era, you would hear, people call him Daisy.
Daisy, yep.
Hit him with your purse, Daisy, was something that I would hear from our section all the time back in the day. So,
my small world view of that era, my best friend bought a Daze jersey, so like I was always a fan of his. So
Yeah.
55 is such a great number.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that was part of it too. Yeah.
I wore that in football when I had the option to choose. But when I saw Kevin Korchinski put on 55, I'm like, yes, it just looks great.
Looks good.
All double numbers are cool.
Double
but to me,
nickel.
55 is just such in all sports, 55 works beautifully. But
Yeah,
Daze, 38 goals in 01-02, 70 points.
Yeah.
as Narfin says in the chat, he would thrive in today's NHL.
Yes, he would.
He was born in the wrong era. If he,
was
played
he
today,
was a generation ahead of himself.
if he played today's game, he'd be a star.
I mean, not that he's achieved this yet, but Kirby Dach, a similar big but didn't play big.
Yeah.
Right? He hasn't shown 38 goal potential quite yet.
Not yet.
But that's sort of if Doc played in Daze's era, it would be like, this guy's soft as a grape. He doesn't hit anybody.
Probably.
He's a finesse
People
guy.
are saying that about him in this era.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
All right. I'm going to go with my 80s, 90s, and hits of today guy. I'm going to go with one of my all-time favorite. He should be in the Ring of Honor just for his hair alone. Doug Wilson.
Doesn't
Good old
need a
number
helmet.
24. Nope. He has his built in.
Yeah, he made the thumbnail today. I was like, I got to get that lettuce on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
though, Doug Wilson, one of my all-time favorite Blackhawks. You want to talk about a guy ahead of his time? He was a defenseman in the 80s
In a good way.
that everybody wants today.
Yeah.
He was ahead of his time. He played 938 games with the Hawks. He scored 225 goals and 779 points as a defenseman in an era where defensemen didn't really contribute. Like you had Paul Coffey come up and really revolutionize that, and he was part of that line. He won the Norris Trophy in 1982, the first Blackhawk to ever win that honor. So Doug Wilson, loved him. One of my favorite players growing up. Still looked weird when he wore that Sharks uniform for two years, but
Well, and he got honored by the Sharks
yes,
earlier.
right, before the Hawks game. He spent a long time out there. I think most people today now associate him as a Shark, not a Blackhawk, because being the GM there for so long and building some successful teams. But I loved Doug Wilson growing up, going to the old stadium as a kid with my dad, and just when he took the ice, your eyes went right to him.
Yeah.
Because he was different than everybody else out there. That was in the LC Corps days. He's mentioned in our chat, and he definitely deserves to be in Ring of Honor. He can fly all the inductees in on his plane.
There you go.
But like you had the guys like Secord and Larmer who were the blue collar, get dirty guys, and then here comes Doug Wilson that just makes things look so effortless. Was one of the best skaters. Was probably the best skater in the NHL, not playing in Edmonton during those times.
Yeah, seriously. And would whoop your ass too.
Yeah.
If given the opportunity.
Yeah, great player. I loved. He was way ahead of his time. He was a two-way defenseman in an era where there were barely any two-way offensive, defensemen.
Yeah, he was a stud. And I always remember you said how he would catch your eye. Part of it was one of the last guys to not wear a helmet in the league. But also he was like one of those dudes that wore just little strips of cardboard for pads. Yeah. And just you know what I mean? It just looked like he had nothing underneath his jersey. and he was just getting you with all of his muscle. And we keep talking about that Ice Guardian thing because we watched it 3 times.
It was on loop.
But like all those guys wearing like just like Velcro taped to cardboard as pads, and it's Wilson was one of those guys. Just a throwback. It's funny, you like a throwback, but ahead of his time at the same time. You know, and yeah, I think he is absolutely. Definitely worthy of Ring of Honor, and maybe even more as we talk about.
Yeah, he's a guy that I would
retirement.
have no problems if they retired his number.
So for me, I'm going to go with Eddie Belfour, and Roenick was the guy that got the hockey hooks into me. But guys like Chelios and Belfour were the ones that just didn't let it go. They were that Hawks crew was so cool. They just had a swag about them and a confidence about them. Yeah, and Eddie Belfour was a red ass. He got in his crease, he was going to hit you. He'd fly off the handle sometimes.
If he loses a playoff game in St. Louis, he's trashing the locker room.
Yes, yeah, Eddie is a character, man, and I feel like the days of the character in sports are kind of going by the leeway, especially in hockey, because I don't know, there's not really. I guess Brad Marchand is kind of that guy, but there used to be a lot more of that in the game. And look, maybe it's not the best thing as a coach. You don't want a guy who's going to lose his mind all the time, but for fans, it's entertaining as hell. And, oh, yeah, Eddie Belfour was also awesome. 415 games with the Hawks, 201 wins, 138 losses, 56 ties, 30 shutouts, 265 goals against, and a .903 save percentage. He was just awesome. He was awesome, and I'll never forget, I was at that game, triple overtime, Jeremy Roenick's last game as a Hawk, Hawks and Avs going back and forth, Wah versus Belfour. It was just one of the most magical sporting events I ever attended. It ripped the heart out of my chest. But to watch two guys in their prime going at it, and the Avs were dominating the Hawks. I think they had like 50 shots on goal or something when the smoke cleared, and Belfour was the only reason the Hawks were in that game. And to see him lose in that fashion was tough. But just to watch those two guys go at it, those two personalities too, Wah and Belfour go at it. And I feel bad for Eddie because he was always in Patrick Wah's shadow. Yeah. Because Wah was the guy who was winning. He had a bigger personality. He played in Montreal, which is obviously the hugest thing. Then to Colorado, and they immediately win a cup. So he was always overshadowed. But man, Eddie was such a cool hockey player and a great goalie. That's a guy we could probably get in here someday.
And by the way, as Dale brings up, his mask, the
Eagle
mask
was
awesome,
iconic.
rad. I mean,
and I loved when he went on to other teams. He had the same mask, but in different colors.
Yeah.
Like green and black in Dallas, and
like
blue
he
and
started
white
the
in
colorways,
Toronto.
just like all the Jordans do now.
Yeah,
That was awesome. Yeah, that was part of the character.
Yep, loved me some Eddie. Ed Belfour was the first Blackhawks jersey I got with a name and number on the back.
Nice.
And then he was traded. Then I got a Chelios, and then he was traded. Yeah, it was the start of my tradition of getting guys traded from Chicago by buying their jersey.
Oof.
It's a long line of them.
I had that from interviewing guys. Ben Smith, Tanner Caro, Troy Brower. Come on down. Come talk to Jay. I don't want to. I want to get traded. Yeah, I had to start warning people about it. Like, just so you know, when guys do this, they leave. I can't be blamed for TAVO, though. I was sick that day, and Barry Rosner did the TAVO show at Pequods. TAVO at Pequods.
God, that's
That
like,
would have been a dream.
They said it was
a
a
wet
freaking
dream.
nightmare of
really?
people. There were so many people there.
Well, that's not the most convenient location in the
Ew.
world either. Yeah,
No.
Yeah. They usually don't have trouble bringing people in.
right.
So then you bring in our beloved TAVO, and it's going to make a nightmare. But, yep, I missed that one. So don't blame me for that. Damn it. Not my fault.
He's part of my jersey collection of guys who got traded.
The Rockford one.
The Rockford.
Is I love that one.
I have the Nick Leddy. I have a Brendan Saad, a Panarin, a Versteeg 32.
Nice.
Yeah, there's lots.
Prestige 1.0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, eventually, they're all going to be gone. So then they become vintage.
Yeah.
I think you're back. You're Belfour. You're.
Oh,
even
yeah.
like-
100%
Well,
you
the
can wear
bad
those
part
to
is
that.
I haven't been able to fit in those in like 25 years.
All right. Fair enough. Fair
You can
enough.
bring them in
Yeah,
here.
that's
I
a
might
advantage.
Yeah,
take a
they
look
can
and,
both fit you. Or they'll fit Mario. They're not fitting me anymore.
All right. Fair enough. That's fair.
Those are back when they were done by Starter. That's how
yeah.
long ago that was.
My first is the CCM, and it's a Savard, and it's got the fight strap and everything.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first one I bought. So My uncle gave me an Eddie Olczyk jersey right after Olczyk was traded. He's like, hey, I got you a Hawks jersey. I'm like, oh, my God, it's amazing. And I'm like, oh, wait, he just got traded. But it had Gunzos on it and everything, like totally authentic. But the first one I bought was an authentic white Bob Probert jersey.
Yes.
And I wore it at my wedding reception. Everybody wore Hawks jerseys, and I wore that one. That's like still my beloved Hawks jersey.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Sam in the chat wants 24 to hang in the rafters. He says Probert was the greatest Hawk.
Dale says, what is Gunzos? Gunzos is the hockey shop.
No, he says was
Oh, I'm sorry.
Was
it
a Gunzos?
Was it a Gunzos? The Probert one was not a Gunzos one, but I got it at City Sports Lettering, which is where the Hawks went after Gunzos. So I did get it at the place the Hawks get it made because I am I don't know if the word is a snob, but when I see a jersey that's not authentic, it like
Yeah, I'm the same way.
When you can see that the logo is just not right,
Or the fonts are wrong.
color's a little wrong, or it's a
Yeah.
little tilted,
The
or
Blackhawk head is slightly looking up at you.
Yeah.
Or the W is just an upside down M. on
Yeah.
the
a lot of
nameplate.
those Taves ones going around.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Shaw too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
even if you buy a replica, like from Fanatics or Foco or whatever, it's going to have the right fonts and the approved logo. But if hey, my buddy, he sells jerseys at the bar.
Yeah.
They're authentic. Like, no,
yeah,
it says Tomes.
yeah. I too try not to be like snobby about it, but I'm always just like, there's something off about that jersey. You know,
If you're gonna pay $100 for a knockoff, pay $180 for at least like a quality replica.
right?
I just always get a kick out of the back in the day, the guys that were sitting in the $200 seats in the 100 level wearing $35 knockoff
Yeah.
Chinese jersey.
Yeah. That was a scourge for a while, man.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be at a bar. I used to go with my cousins like to Dingers and stuff on Western, and guys would just come in with like boxes.
Yep.
It's like these are not, but people are just like,
Yep.
take my money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it probably doesn't bother most people.
No.
But to
No.
me, I saw
It
one
bothers me.
I saw one at our Bears tailgate. Somebody had a janky Matt Forte jersey on. I was like, ugh, that looks real bad. It's like
Hopefully he's not listening right now.
bubbly. It was weird. All right, let's go to the post-lockout era of hockey. Mario,
Do we want to talk about our sponsors before we do that?
I guess
So
we
we
can
don't
do
run
that.
That's a good idea. I like
We don't
that
run out
idea.
of time.
Are we running out of time? Are we getting late already?
Yeah,
Sheesh.
a little bit.
All right. Fine, Mom.
Hey, look, I'm just trying to make sure the lights stay on, right? Like, ComEd.
Yes, thank you.
Hey,
I'm very sorry, by the way, if you went with my bet from yesterday, Connor McDavid plus 800 to score the first goal. You did not win. Dylan Strome owes you money. Take it up with him. But it was still a value play.
And he
right?
still did score.
Yes, of course.
So
He
if you
scored the first Edmonton goal.
He was
Yeah,
minus.
if you weren't as exotic going with the first goal scored, if you did take the minus money for him to score a goal, you got your payoff.
How good are you if you are minus money to score a goal? That's
Pretty
crazy.
damn good.
well,
Draisaitl was also minus 110 to
Well,
score.
the thing
He's
is,
pretty damn good.
when you go to the point things from McDavid, he's always minus 1.5. He's never.
Yeah.
Most guys are half a point. Over under, he's always
Yeah.
half
Patrick,
1.5.
Patrick Kane is always
Yep.
over under 1.5.
Like you can't
points.
even bet like over half a point because they just assume he's getting a point.
That's amazing. Well, it's finally time to hit the ice again, and thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you're in for the season of a lifetime. New users, listen to this. Bet $5 on any team and get $200 in free bets if they win. If that's not enough excitement, turn those small bets into bigger payouts with those same game parlays. That's what we're talking about. I said yesterday, if you took the McDavid plus 800 to score first and Ovechkin to score last, it would have been plus 1,600. That's a huge payout for a small bet. Yes, the odds are greater. Less? Whatever. But it's a bigger payout, right? Those parlays are so much fun. You can find multiple bets you like. It's not just goal scoring. It's how many goals will be scored, who will have the most shots, all those sort of things for those huge payouts. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code CHGO. Bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $200 in free bets if they do. That's code CHGO at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Hey, did you ever wonder why sunglasses are so dang expensive?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, so did our friends over at Shady Rays. So they
the
set out to change it, and change it they have. You do not have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall, because our friends at Shady Rays have got you and your precious eyeballs covered. Shady Rays are premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone and every lifestyle. Best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program on all of eyewear. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Did you drop them in the lake? Are they swimming next to Mario's sunglasses in the chain of lakes?
Yeah, they need some
Did
friends.
they fall off a cliff? Did you lose them up on the observation deck? Easy for me to say. Of the Willis Tower. Well, they'll replace them no matter how
Hold
you
on.
lost or
Did
broke
you just
them.
say Willis Tower?
I did.
That's it.
Get him out.
Get over it.
What the hell's going on?
It's been 15 years. Get over it. Anywho, even with that strong of a protection program, they still managed to make quality that I can assure you from wearing them for the past couple of years. They're just as good, if not better, than any expensive pair you can buy on the market. Shady Rays customers will agree with that statement. They have over 200,000 five-star likes on their website. That's a ton of five-star reviews. We need to get a few more to catch up with them. Shady Rays also provides 10 meals to fight hunger across America with every order placed, and have donated over 20 million meals to date. So not only are you going to look cool, you're doing something cool for those less fortunate. They stand behind their product and told our team that if anyone has a problem, they will throw profit right out the window and do what it takes to get it right. Free returns and exchanges. You either love the shades or Shady Rays will pay to ship them back. And exclusively for our listeners, that's you guys, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use promo code CHGO at checkout, and you will get 50% off 2 or more pairs of sunglasses. I did not excel at math in school, but even I can tell you that's buy one, get one free. You can get 2 awesome pairs of sunglasses for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades.
I like that math.
I mean, you knew Dale Shytown in the chat, whose avatar is the Sears, is going to say no. It's the Sears Tower.
I still call it Sears Tower out of habit, but I do like the I will always call it this corporation's name, not this corporation's name.
Yeah, listen, Sears ain't sending me a check to say it anymore, so they can, they stopped sending me the wish book. I'm stopped calling it the Sears Tower.
There you go.
That's true.
Exactly. All right, before we wrap up, we got to get our post-lockout nominees,
Post-lockout.
of which there are many. Remember, we've already said Taves, Kane, Hossa for sure, Seabrook, and Keith are shoo-ins.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting in Larmer. We're putting in Roenick on our own.
Those guys are getting their numbers retired.
Yes.
So
thank you for clarifying.
For the Ring of Honor, yeah. Roenick, Larmer, those are automatic ins. I am going to go with part-time broadcaster and handsome man Patrick Sharp.
Full-time handsome man.
Full-time handsome man, yes.
He's very part-time, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a
Man,
while.
Mario's just going with number 10s.
Yeah.
Amani and Sharp, they can share a number stall. I mean, look, Patrick Sharp was part of the Blackhawks comeuppeth in the post-lockout era. Probably, as far as return on value, the best trade of that era, arguably. And I think, was he the man for those cup teams? No. Do they win 3 without him? It's a harder path to do
Probably
so.
not.
So he was definitely integral to all 3 cups, and one probably of the 7 guys that were there for all 3, he's just not over that hump of being number retirement and all that. And yeah, I think his legacy is as a Blackhawk, even though he played games for the Flyers and Stars. He'll for sure always be remembered as a Blackhawk.
I mean, as long as in the Ring of Honor you don't put a number 10, you just put his face, his
just put the name.
beautiful face.
Yeah, if his number was retired, it wouldn't be the number 10. It would be a picture of him.
Just make the zero in his
know.
face.
My wife would appreciate that very much.
I think many
his face
many
does.
people would.
His face does belong to be immortalized wherever you put it. He's a very handsome man.
Yep.
My guy is not quite as handsome, but one of my all-time favorite Blackhawks. I'm going with good old number 36, Dave Boland. Just, man, you talk about guys that he was there for the 2 cups in 2010, 2013. Do they win those 2 cups without him? Probably.
It's a lot harder.
But he played such an underrated. There he is.
Yes.
There he is. Get
Do
him
not
front
block
and front.
Hossa. Okay.
Get him front and center. That's why his helmet is caved
I was
in
going to
the
say,
back.
it's the JFK version of Dave Boland.
Too
soon?
Too soon. Too soon.
Too late.
Remind me to tell you a JFK joke when we get off the air. I'm not saying it on the air. Anyway, Dave Boland.
Apologies if you're
This is
offended
all-
by
it's
JFK
It's just
jokes.
off-brand for you, Mario. I wasn't expecting it.
I called it that
There
before.
was.
Have I not? I thought I did.
I don't
Oh.
think so.
All right. Well, there you go.
It's dark. I love it.
Anyway, Dave Boland played over 332 games for the Hawks, had 70 goals, 168 points. But the playoffs is where he showed his value. 67 playoff games, had 17, very appropriately, goals and 43 points. Of course, we all remember him for that huge goal in Boston. But listen, his job was to get Henrik and Daniel Sedin off their game for 3 seasons, and he did. The Vancouver Canucks hated Dave Boland and what he did. He was Brad Marchand, but even more effective.
Kept his tongue in his mouth.
Yeah, he was that guy that just walked the line and rarely crossed it. Like he did not get that many penalties. He just knew how to press your butt. Dave Boland played hockey like when you were on family road trips and you would put your finger like right by your sister's ear. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching. That was how Dave Boland played hockey. He perfected the art of being a pain in the ass.
I always
Remember when he pissed off Joe Thornton?
I was just
so
gonna say
much?
I remember the 2010
Yeah.
conference final against the Sharks, and he basically Joe Thornton was never a guy to retaliate like that, and he basically made Thornton play like a thug against him because he was so pissed to play against.
He
Dave
got
Boland.
people off their games. He got skilled players to stop playing with skill, and that was so effective. And then he would score a big goal when you needed it, too.
Yep.
We talk a lot about guys that needed to learn how to change the way they played to play in the NHL. He is exemplified that. He was a great offensive player in juniors. He had a 50-goal season for the London Knights.
Yep.
He realized right away, I'm not going to be able to do that here. So if I want to stay and be an effective NHL player, I got to embrace another role. He found it. He played it to perfection and is one of the most underrated guys on 2 teams that were full of just superstar talent.
All right. Before we wrap up, I'm going to give you a number. 1,605. That is career blocked shots for Nicholas Hjalmarsson.
It's a lot of shots.
The word warrior gets thrown around a lot in sports. I don't think anyone in that Cup era of great players who poured their heart and soul into those Stanley Cups, Nicholas Hjalmarsson might have been the dude who did it the most. That guy took a beating, shut down everybody, and you talk about Dave Boland, finding a different role. I also think with Boland, had he been on a different team, he could have made a lot more money and had a lot bigger numbers. Nicholas Hjalmarsson's a number 1 defenseman on 31 NHL teams. He was number 3 in Chicago behind Keith and Seabrook, and he was a freaking master. Scotty Bowman compared him to Nicholas Lidstrom.
Yeah.
It's high praise.
I mean, look, Nicholas Lidstrom is on the Mount Rushmore of NHL defensemen, and Scotty Bowman coached him for the maybe whole career or the vast majority of his career.
Yeah.
For him to even suggest that you're on the same level as Nicholas Lidstrom is huge praise. And for me, in my lifetime, up 1 goal late in the game, he is the first guy over the bench for me. Ahead of Keith, ahead of Seabrook, ahead of Chelios. Nicholas Hjalmarsson's the first guy I'm putting on the ice with a 1-goal lead late in the game. The guy was absolutely a stud for the Hawks. I do think late in his career, it finally became like recognized and realized by Hawks fans. So I don't want to say he's underrated. I think Hawks fans truly do appreciate
the
Hjalmarsson.
outpouring when he was traded.
Yeah.
You saw exactly what he was.
He's not underrated in Chicago, but he's vastly underrated everywhere else.
Yeah, that's
around
true.
the league. Yeah,
That's true.
If there was, the Norris Trophy goes out to the best defenseman. If the Norris Trophy went out to the best defensive
He would've won a
defenseman, Hjalmarsson would have at least one.
I've been saying that for years. The Norris Trophy should be for the best defensive defenseman, and then give out the Bobby Orr Trophy for the best overall defense or best offensive defenseman.
Yeah.
Because it seems that the guy that wins the Norris is the defenseman that had the most points.
If you have a defenseman that puts up 90 points, but they're even, that's not good.
Right.
So
yeah, I think there should be two defenseman awards, the Norris and the Bobby Orr, and Hjalmarsson would have won a couple of those Norrises if it was based on just defensive hockey.
Yeah, agreed. If you're looking at the YouTube, make sure you smash that like button. What you see on the screen, our Ring of Honor, we'll put that out on social media as well later in the day.
The inaugural hypothetical Ring of Honor cast.
That'd be a fun party.
That would be a
good
really
time.
fun party. All right, before we wrap up, one final reminder, Tailgate Sunday, CHGO Chicago football tailgate, Chicago versus Detroit. We're starting at 8:30 this Sunday until noon. Goose Island will have the beers out there. We're going to have great food out there as well. A DJ who rules. That guy's awesome. You don't need a ticket to the game, but you need a ticket to the tailgate. Get it at allchgo.com. And one heads up for hockey fans. We don't like to promote other podcasts on this show, but once you've listened to everything in the CHGO catalog for every team, Wayne Gretzky was a guest on this week's Smart List podcast with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes, and it was really, really good. So hockey fans, go listen to Wayne Gretzky with Smart List.
I don't think their podcast really competes with our
you'd be surprised.
podcast all that much, does it?
You'd be surprised.
Are they a
They've
hockey
also had
podcast with Sean Hayes?
What's that?
Is Sean Hayes on a hockey podcast?
He is now. He was today.
I guess so.
I guess
All right.
if
With
Wayne Gretzky's on there, it's a hockey podcast. They also had Brendan Shanahan on there a few months ago, but Gretzky told a story about how right after Shanahan retired, he called him and lamented the fact that, like, I can't fight anybody anymore. It was good. It was a great interview, and Gretzky really kind of opened up and showed his personality, so worth a listen.
Didn't Will Arnett do a Brendan Shanahan impression?
Oh, I don't know.
For like, was it the ESPYs or something? Or it might have been the NHL awards when Shanahan was the head of player safety or whatever. I think he did like for like the NHL awards. He did like I
think you're right.
Hi, I'm Brendan Shanahan. It was a Will Arnett impression of Brendan Shanahan.
Remember too, he's the one who was talking to Patrick Kane on ice, and didn't he say like, "Are you going to get traded?" or something like that?
Last season on TNT, Will Arnett was on and interjected. It might have been Gretzky. Interrupted him and was just like, "Hey, I gotta ask, which one leaves first, you or Taze?" And Kane was like,
That's right.
Kind of had to laugh it off. Yeah.
Yeah. Will Arnett is a huge hockey fan and a player.
Well, he's Canadian.
So yeah.
That
So
makes
check that out.
sense.
It was a good listen. I
He's
enjoyed
a
it.
Leafs fan, so haha.
Yeah, poor bastard. All right.
It's his choice.
Let's wrap things up. Thanks to Lawrence for running the show today.
Also, Lego
We
Batman.
appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow at 2:30. And as the show's been going on, we have made progress on both Bernie Nichols and Marian Hossa. So when we get
All the
confirmation
former
on both,
Hawks.
we'll let you know. Bernie Nichols, by the way, Ring of Honor. Do it up.
He should be in the freaking Hall of Fame.
You're right. We'll talk to
I
him about
almost
that
swore right there.
soon. Maybe. Thanks for listening to the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.